What is up, ladies and gentlemen? What do you think of my shirt?
I was going to say about that. I noticed last night on Emerald Isle's Paranormal Researchers, I noticed you had a snazzy shirt on. You get another shirt on the night. Looking very
Oh yeah, look,
snazzy.
look! It's Bigfoot. It's Bigfoot.
Where's Pete? Pete, he's got Bigfoot on his shirt.
If this was a gift, you jackass.
Who was that? Who was it from, may I ask?
My mother, she was down on one of her trips to Colorado and happened to spot it. And the parts where she goes are big Bigfoot touristy traps. So
Yeah. Who have we all got in the chat tonight? We have Ghost Squad Scotland. I wonder who that could be, that handsome fellow from Ghost Squad Scotland. There he's there. We've got
I know St.
Lawrence.
Patrick's Day tomorrow, but Chris, you
Yes.
shouldn't come to a show drunk.
Very good. Lawrence, we've got Dots there in the chat. Got Stephanie. I nearly called you Stephen there, Stephanie. And then we've got Ken in the bottom, down the bottom there. So we'll just have to let it warm up. My God, I'm saying all the names correctly.
I know. Who the hell are you?
I'm sorry, but Chris was replaced the other day there. I'm an alien for the different galaxy.
You know, Marvel, Secret Invasion, Scrolls. Oh, fuck you.
I'm going to say this to know if Jenny's watching. Honestly, that was a really good show last night on Jenny's channel. Her and Louise and everybody on. Sorry, I couldn't stay long because my back was absolutely killing me. It was really sore, but I'll lay in my bed and watch the rest of it, you know.
Achy breaky old man.
Oh, I'll tell you. See, in a couple of years, I'll be like Stephen Hawking. Take me about an hour to type out a word.
Jenny and her famous Irish goodbye. You know, that sounds like a band name. Jenny and the Irish Goodbye. You know, little love
Jenny
songs,
and the Irish
heartfelt
goodbye.
ballads, little Celtic. I think that would actually be kind of good.
There you go, Jenny. You and Louise and Niall.
Between that and the paraporn, they could really make some money.
Oh, I need to bring something up tonight. Where are you, Pete, tonight? You're somewhere there, Pete, somewhere in the ether. Pete has got a new invention. Was it paranormal? What was it? Paranormal
Ectolube.
Ectoplasm Ectolube. I'm telling you, you need to go with that. You'd become a multi-millionaire. I could see you now. Your dad would be proud of you.
I mean, think about it. You know, we're a bunch of knobheads, you know, running around with fancy toys in the middle of the night, hoping to get some action. It writes itself. You want to know what's real bad? You want to know what's real bad? I found this out. Apparently, there's some parents out there who let their young children, I'm talking like almost newborn, watch this show to help keep them calm down. And we talk about shit like that.
Wow. There he's there. There's the man himself, the inventor of paranormal lube. The ectoplasm lube, or whatever it's called. There he's there in the chat. See? So, Pete, when are you starting production of the ectoplasm lube?
Is it glow in the dark?
That's a good point. That'd be really handy. I think the money you would save in electricity.
Oh, dear Lord. Give somebody a fucking seizure while in the middle of the act? Shit, just shaking.
There he's there.
Oh,
there he's there. Bring him up. Go and bring him up. We'll bring him up. It was Ecto.
Ectoloon. That's an instrument.
Is that actually an instrument? How do you play that? Do you pluck it?
The loon? No. Is it? Oh, I think I might be thinking of something else.
Oh my God!
Comes in flavors and colors.
Oh my God!
Oh,
God. I'm telling you, we need to get this stocked up in the, what do you call it, Bald and Bonkers shop.
And set up an Amazon shop. We'll run the affiliate links to the show. Oh God. It's bad that we can actually have a game plan behind this.
Well, I must admit, right? But here's the thing, right? That show last night we were on with Jenny, that was a good show last night.
That was interesting.
I mean that guy with the cloak was it Wraith Hunters, Texas Wraith Hunters, wasn't it? That was interesting. Then you told me the night because my back was that sore last night. I was taking some stuff and I couldn't see the chat very good. And what was it? Pete put it was, what was it again? The werewolves that you thought it was.
I
Maybe.
can't remember the exact term that Pete used for the guy with the cloak last night. Pete, if I know that you're watching and once you have a chance to breathe, let us know. But this was something that his dad Mike actually brought up during a
Knowledge.
chat on some of the occult rumors surrounding Nazi Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And it immediately brought me to that. I was like, that dude was going to be eaten. He was going to be ritualistically killed, then eaten, and they would have not been able to find him.
There he's put it there. The Vargar and the Kai. Oh, good, my God, you better read that.
Coyotero. Yeah.
Corretero. Yeah.
Thank you.
I minded Mike the Naked Bigfoot talking about that. Mind we had them on talking about the Nazis.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Mm-hmm.
You daft bastard.
I am old and decrepit. Oh, but Stephen Hawkins.
Oh man!
You can push me. When we go to Yellowstone, you can push the wheelchair with me, and Ken Lucky will push me into a volcano or something like that. But oh dear, officer, it was a tragic accident.
Why would I waste you in the one super volcano that's big enough to practically cause an extinction level event?
See, that's the thing. That's a good side way to go into this, right? What is your opinion on the Yellowstone super volcano? See, everybody's saying, "Oh, we're doomed. We're doomed. I tell you, we're doomed." I don't think it's going to get off for another 1,000 years or something stupid like that. Before I go for the morals, right? Me saying that.
Well, there's ways that the eruption can be prevented that are probably going to start coming out here into the public eye a bit sooner. But funny you should say that because you got to remember what was it? Almost 8 years ago, 7 years ago, where they said the latest estimates for the Yellowstone supervolcano were almost 100 times larger than they actually thought beforehand. That thing goes. I'm in the blast zone, dude.
But see, that's the thing. That's not the only super volcano there is. I mean, there's a few around about the world under the sea and stuff like that.
There is. But Yellowstone is the big one of concern for me because, again, I'm in the blast zone.
Yeah. So that film, was it 2012? You ever seen that movie?
Yeah. Goes to Yellowstone. I wouldn't be able to get out that quickly. No one would.
No. I don't think camper vans could go that fast if there was an explosion actually happening behind you. There's Sonny the Naked Bigfoot there. Dad obsessed on the Vargar and collected all kinds of stuff
about him, and I said, yeah. Like Mike pointed out, there was a lot of places dealing with the Nazis where a lot of people went in, but nobody came out.
I know. That was
and
that
Lewis,
castle in Germany. Oh,
there's Lewis there, looking like he's possibly on some sort of substance. We're not here to judge.
That's just Lewis. Lewis is in Spain, living the life. He's probably sitting outside the new watching the stars.
Those Spanish mamacitas.
Yeah, I think Dakota's been on something. Obviously, with his sexy shirt on there. I was going to buy a Caribbean shirt, but I've actually got a T-shirt on the night that says skeleton riding a motorcycle.
I don't know. I've just been feeling funky lately. I don't know why.
Yeah, you see the aliens. That was funny last night when Jenny brought up how you do it in space and the 0G, wasn't it, with your wife? That's a good point. That, I mean, has the aliens up there?
Fucking Neil Story was watching that part, man.
I know, but he's watching the night again. He's watching your show tonight. But here's the thing. There's a thing, right? Obviously, did they have like 0G up there, or have they mastered the way to like stop you floating about?
Artificial gravity.
Yeah. But it would be interesting, 0G. I'm sure Pete in the chat, he'd be interested in that kind of thing, wouldn't you, Pete?
I don't know, because when you really think about it, say like astronauts while they're in space, if they were to go to start crying, their tears actually just build up right at the eye sockets.
I've heard of that.
And their fluids just build up like that.
Yeah.
So you got fluids coming out of other orifices unless they do something to collect it.
They did do something to collect it. They've got like a giant nappy on.
I know. But still think about it. If they're strapping down and getting freaky up in 0G.
Was that knowledge within aliens being anal probing again? WD-40. WD-40 is a very handy lube, I must admit.
Yet you still creak and moan.
I know. I'm needing to squirt some under monsters and that because I'm getting off a sear this weather. So, what weird and wonderful news is happening today?
Yeah, you gotta. I feel like there's one thing we should probably address. You were just bringing it up before the show, at the very least. And that is. What the fuck? God damn it!
Bring it up for everybody. Come on.
Never fornicate with a light steep whoopee wench in pressurized lingerie without ectolube. Now in Martian melon flavor. God.
Yes, and I'll give you, if you want to buy it, Pete's details on Twitter. He's got to be making it in the shed in his farm. I hope there's only natural products in that, Pete. You know, natural products.
God. Fuck. What was I gonna say? Oh, right.
Oh, yeah, you're going to talk about the Egypt's eye.
Yeah, when don't we roast those motherfuckers?
Yeah.
The upcoming total solar eclipse that's going to be here in the States.
No, you were you weren't going to mention that. You were going to mention something else about that other company.
You really want to again? I don't know. See,
it's up to you.
I've been kind of debating on whether or not we should get ahead of it.
Been doing a lot, have you?
Yeah, I'm morally torn when it comes to this.
We'll leave that to after then. I'll tell you one day about solar eclipse.
So yeah, let's address it at the end because I'm kind of morally torn. For the short version, for those of you wondering what the hell is going on, let's just say we heard from someone that we never thought could. Don't bring that up. That's spam. Oh, sheep.
I'm not bringing it up. I'm just looking at it.
I saw the message that came through on one of the Twitch channels, but basically someone we never thought we would heard from again reached out, and there's possibly going to be some controversy stirring up, and they're going to try to drag us into it.
There you go. And just I would like to say, Pete's new product is coming out on the market. No sheep or squirrels were harmed in the manufacturing of Ecolube.
Considering the stories that your father would come out with, I think you're going to have to be a little bit more specific in your warning labels there, Pete.
Yeah. But anyway, right, was it the 8th of April? Lunar eclipse. Total solar eclipse means solar eclipse, right? Solar eclipse. What's your opinion on it? Because everybody in TikToks went mad.
Now, I will say, so I like to watch the solar eclipse. It's not going to be all that impressive from where I'm at, but naturally, please wear protective eyewear. Don't spray your eyes with sunscreen. I can't believe the last solar eclipse that came through here, they actually had to put that out.
Bees.
And no, it's not likely to be an apocalyptic event, even though 2 major cicada broods are going to be blossoming at the same time, right at the path of totality for the solar eclipse. So I imagine it would look very biblical because there's going to be thousands of those damn bugs.
We're doomed, I tell you that. We're doomed.
No,
I don't think it's going to happen.
No, everybody's like, it seems like every other week there's going to be some new apocalypse. I was like, I'm sorry.
Oh, good God. Pete, don't say that, Pete. For God's sake, man.
If I'm not mistaken,
on a serious note, I've been having bad dreams about it.
Well, if he's talking about the cicadas, he's about where they're at.
I think he's talking about the eclipse.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of weird things have been going on. I'll admit, some weird shit's been going on. But
why?
Anyway, what were you saying?
I was just going to say about the solar eclipse. I mean, it's quite interesting. I mean, it happens on a certain day, which I find interesting. It's the same as what was that I was talking before the show? It's the same day was it Jesus was crucified or whatever, but it was also the same day as what was that? I've went and forgot that now. You've put me off, man. You've put me off. My old brain can't work. But it's the same. Is it no?
Oh,
There used to be
you were
13
trying to
months in a
say that
year.
there was.
No, there
What's
used to be
that?
13 months. There used to be 13 months in a year, but
Yeah,
now there's
yeah,
12.
yeah, yeah.
If it's happening on the same day, there would be 13 months.
Yeah, there used to be
Yeah.
13 months in a year, and thinking on the number 13 and all of that. You know, all of these numerological science. I was like, you know what? Maybe something does go down. It's the 2020s. You don't fucking know what's happening anymore.
I mean, honestly, I don't think there's got to be 3 days of darkness and zombies roaming the lands. There's folk on TikTok saying, "Oh, there's 3 days of darkness. Even if your family come to the door, don't let them in. Don't let them in. They're going to get you. Stock
I
up on
know.
loads of food and water." I mean, right, look, you've got to remember, I'm sorry if I'm going to offend some people here, but some of them are religious fanatics that's putting this out, right? There's people on there that's putting the stuff out. They said last year that the apocalypse was coming and it never happened. And the year before that, they said the apocalypse was coming and it never happened. And the year before that, they said the apocalypse was coming and it never happened. You see where I'm going with this?
Yep.
These people, this is how they get the gullible people on TikTok. And let's face it, there is a lot of gullible people on there. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think anything really is going to happen. I will say this. I do think the problems we've got to do with war and stuff like that, something might go down there.
Possibly.
You know?
But even then, how much... Granted, yes, it's a fucked up situation that's going on with the wars in Europe right now, and too many people, innocent people on both sides are getting slaughtered, and there's all sorts of shit that's going down in the world right now. But honestly, like I said, you know, we've had apocalypses since 2012.
Yeah.
Nothing has ever happened. There may have been a couple of weird things here and there, but why do they honestly keep trying? You
That's
keep
quite
trying
interesting.
every year, and it's getting ramped up to like every other week. It seems.
You see what Pete's put there, Son of the Naked Bigfoot. Dreaming of a place I've never been before. 7 people standing in the shadows welcoming me. That's interesting, that, isn't it?
7 people standing in the shadows, giving even Pete's. What we know about Pete's history, that is just something interesting.
Well, yeah, everybody knows where Pete stays is a really live, active place where strange things that will go bump in the night, you know, even in his house, strange things go bump in the night. I mean, you know, oh, for God's sake.
Lewis!
Stop eating the CBD sweets! Lewis, save them for me.
Like you need any more CBD.
He's been on the sangria. That's what it is. He's on the sangria. It's on the sangria. That's what it is. He's on the sangria.
Hey, I don't blame him.
Nah.
I don't blame him. That sangria is good, man.
Do you think so? I think it's disgusting.
But anything's good when you got a pretty enough women talking you into it.
That's very true. I'm going to go back to the solar eclipse. I don't think anything's going to happen, to be purely honest with you. I think it's going to last for about 5 minutes and go away, and then that's that. And then all the folk will be running about saying, "Oh, it's coming back in 5 years and we're doomed. We're doomed." That's what they're going to do. All the crazy, mad Bible bashers out there.
Okay, first off, I'm going to say this. What? If you look at the history of the Bavarian Illuminati, right? You know, I'm going to probably answer my own question earlier, why they keep trying this. If you look at the history of the Bavarian Illuminati, what was it that helped them get into power? Dumbasses who didn't understand how a solar eclipse worked.
Yeah. They knew how it worked. They knew how
Yeah,
it worked.
they knew how
They
it
could
worked.
say,
They took
"Well,
advantage
we've
of it.
made the sun. We've made the sun go away. If you don't give us any more money, we'll not bring it
No,
back." And of
exactly.
course,
It's like
everybody
the
did it.
sun's gonna go away at this time frame. We can help bring it back if you follow us. Of course, everybody thought they were crazy. Blah 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 blah. Sun went away. They realized, oh shit, those guys were onto something. Maybe they can actually help. Follow what they said, and wow, the sun magically came back.
Yeah, yeah. It's like there is a lot. I'm going to say this now. There's a lot of brainwashers on TikTok. I'm going to say that right now. There's actually a few cults I've noticed on there.
It's
They'll
not
do
that
anything.
hard.
Yeah, I mean, there's people on there that like started off with like 1 subscriber, and now they've got like maybe like 1 million like followers, and they're mad. They're
Yeah,
absolutely raving lunatics.
I
I
know,
mean,
and I will address this because we've had some guests on that constantly have the cults mentalities of their followers get thrown into the fire. And honestly, it's one of those things that people don't understand how that actually functions. But when it comes to social media, the
yeah.
problem is across every major platform
Mhm.
is the fact that it is a place that promotes a sort of mob mentality. And that
Yeah.
is when people tend to act the most stupid and try to follow the leader. That's when they're
Yeah.
most easily manipulated. As far as going for cults, yeah, there's a few of them that are started up there. People contribute to the profits of cults all the time when they go to buy their tea.
It's like kind of like
Thoughts?
let's look at. I'll have you know I drink about 4 cups of tea a day. I love my tea now. That's what I drink.
You
It's
better look
tea.
up some of the brands that you buy at the grocer. I'm just saying.
I
Because
get
they are associated with well-known cults.
well, no those stuff that I get because I get it imported. But that doesn't matter about that. But anyway, look, what was I going to say there? What was I going to say? It's this. I've put me off again. Oh my god!
Well,
Right,
I'm not your
so
type,
we're talking
hopefully.
about tea. No, we're talking. What were we talking about before the tea?
Tea,
Cults.
cults.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Flat Earth Society. That is a flipping cult. I'm telling you the new. They've got zero proof. I mean, zero proof, right? And they
It's
just
the
believe in
early
this utter
stages.
shit.
Honestly,
It's
that's somebody
annoying.
we have got to get on. Well, not just the flat earther. We still offer that debate to anybody that wants to try us. Come on, we'll be we'll treat you fair. But we need to actually have a cult specialist come on. And like talk about what's the signs of it, how easy it is for people to go into cults, maybe without even fucking realizing.
Who do we know that's a cult specialist? Neither. Obviously, Mike the Naked Bigfoot, he was kind of an expert in that because he did a video. You ever seen that live that he did where he's talking about is it snake? Can the snakes speak to him? Yeah, and how they invited them in and stuff like that. That's an absolutely fascinating video that he talks about. But
No, I'm talking about we should probably get some of these people that actually go to infiltrate cults to get people out.
Scientology,
Major
that's a
cult.
cult.
That's the
That's
cult.
one of the biggest.
Well,
I mean, that's one of the
and
biggest.
that's one of those. Okay, technically speaking, the main difference that separates Scientology from a religion and a cult is the fact that the guy that started Scientology is officially dead. That's
Yeah.
it.
What was his name? Wormwood Hubbard or something like that?
Something like
Hubbard?
that, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I mean, he started it off, but then it changed when he died. It was like all privatized and now who is it that runs that now? What's his
Tom
name?
Cruise.
No, I know Tom Cruise. What's his name? What's the other guy in the chat? What's the other name of that guy that's that runs Scientology?
Yeah.
You know,
Ron Hubbard.
what is that? L. Ron Hubbard, yeah, that was him. What's that, Lewis? Chris, you have loads of weight. Huh?
Lost
Don't get that.
Lost of weight.
Lost. I know. It's called stress.
Yeah, at least there is a perk to stress.
Yes. There's many things I'm dealing with, but I'm not talking about that tonight. But we're talking about this. But anyway, yeah, it's L. Ron Hubbard when he set that up, it wasn't really a cult. It was all right. It was just folk taking tests and all that. But did you know that they turned on him before he died?
Mm-hmm.
They turned on him. It's saying people turned on him. Yeah, and this is quite an interesting. This is actually quite an interesting subject because everybody that talks about the Scientologists usually gets attacked by them. Have you ever noticed that?
Oh yeah.
Pete, what's your opinion on Scientology? There you go. I'm just back. Had to turn on the Jurassic Park security. He's getting wild about his gear. Yeah.
No, I mean, I read up on Scientology, and it is interesting. I mean, fuck, even Elvis was allegedly looking into it before he died. But nevertheless,
there's Tom Cruise. He's a member.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is one of the worst examples that go into cult territory.
What about John Travolta? He's a member of Scientology.
He's another big one, yeah.
Hey, Jenny. Good to see you, Jenny.
Hello, Jenny.
But
sorry, I think Forrest Gump.
See, if you talk about, honestly, a lot of people have been attacked by Scientologists just by talking. See, doing radio shows and stuff like that. I bet you'll get a visit now for a Scientologist. You were talking about us. You're not allowed to talk about us. We're not a cult. Would you like to join? $500.
Like, no, all right. How about this? You want to plead your case? You want to say what you need to say? Come on for an interview.
Do you know that Scientologists? Do you know? Have you ever read the Scientologist Bible?
Bits and bits.
And some of them will deny this. Some of them will deny this. Do you ken that Scientologists actually think they're an ancient race of aliens that came from a faraway star system? And it's all about today with volcanoes and all this kind of madness. You know what I mean? But then again, I know Robert might have been right about that. You don't know.
You may have been honest. You may have been honest something. Let's fucking face it. We've seen enough weird shit. We've seen enough weird shit to where the Heaven's Gate cult actually had some logic behind it now. Fuck.
I was just about to mention the Heaven's Gate. I mean, they obviously committed suicide, a lot of them, today with the, what do you call it? Today
still
with
members
the
still
comet
alive.
Coming. Yeah. They all taking the poison and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
some of them survived.
Haley's Bob comment that there was going to be a UFO in disguise. And they go to kill themselves off. Their souls were going to be collected by this UFO, and they would get taken to a better place.
Yeah,
I was like, unfortunately,
Pete, I triple dog dare any Scientologist to grow a pair of balls and set foot on the farm. Don't you worry, Pete. If we find some Scientologists, we'll send them to you.
I feel like that could be turned into a country song, man.
I
don't know. I've been kind of a music. I've been kind of a music brain lately.
What's your opinion on talking about religions and stuff here? What's your opinion on Jehovah's Witnesses?
Why do they always got to send the beautiful women to my door?
I usually get the guy standing with the briefcase.
I know they send women at my door, and I'm just like, okay, this is the recruiting laws for Satanism.
I mean, a lot of folks say that about Satanism. I mean, I wouldn't say Satanism as a cult.
It depends on which. Okay, you have to be very careful because there are some legitimate organizations that use the Satanist imagery basically as an FU to how religion has pretty much cultivated society nowadays, but they're trying to promote more science. But there are some groups that are legit Satanists that do perform rituals that you do have to be careful of. Yeah. And usually they're the ones that hide themselves.
This is what I say. I've met Satanists and everybody are like, oh, you support Satan and all that. No, look, so look, you don't understand. You can be a Satanist and you don't need to worship the devil. Good God, I ken Satanists that are actually into good causes and stuff like that. It's look, I've met Mindy. What's his name? Come on, what's his name? Was it Ken or what was his name? As
yeah,
I've not heard from him for a while actually. I mean, look, Satanism, and then you've got like, the people that actually go into it real deal and what you call it, sacrifice stuff and all that kind of. You know what I mean? You could do that with any religion, though, if you really think about it. If you really think about it, I mean, let's take Christianity for instance, right? I mean, Christianity, everybody follows Christianity.
Early Christianity had sacrifice.
Early Christianity used to burn witches because they did magic and stuff, right?
Yep.
So why did they not burn Jesus? Because he did magic too.
Kind of hypocritical, but
it is very hypocritical. It is. It's like that's why I don't really believe in Christianity or that kind of stuff.
You can really go into it because there is historical records that do indicate that Yeshua was a real dude at some point. But I'm going to say this whole we loved him because we nailed him to a cross, abused him, did all this horrible stuff. I'm sorry, that just sounds like the gaslighting you would expect an abusive partner to take. I hit you because I love you.
Yeah. I think some religions. I see the Bible, right? I don't think the Bible that's out there, like what you call it, the King James one, which I can see. I've got out there because I've read it. So I just wanted to see when you've got to remember when they wrote that Bible, it was 500 years after Jesus died.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, at least. So you think about that. They had to make up their own stuff. And it's the same with a lot of religions out there, a lot of the religion out there that's designed to basically keep women in check. Let's put it that way. And it keeps women in check, and it also gives rules so as the men are the higher ups. And I think that's totally wrong. I think it really is totally wrong. Somebody needs to say something about it.
And you can even look into look into like the Apocryphicum, which is basically a collection of books that have been found to have been purposely omitted from the modern Bible. The story of like Adam and Eve, like shortly after they left the garden, Adam was a fucking dick. If you read that, he was.
Yeah.
And some of the stories I can tell you from my encounters, yeah, he was.
Yeah. It's quite interesting, but Pete's put there, Son of the Naked Bigfoot. Sacrifices are just cruel unless they actually serve a purpose. And that is true. They serve a purpose.
It's one of those things where absolute last resort type thing. You really got to think about it. If you look into nearly every culture out there throughout history, people were put into this mentality that they saw themselves being sacrificed as one of the highest honors they could have.
Yeah. Look at the Inca. The Inca sacrificed everybody. I mean, a lot of people wonder how the Inca died out, and there's loads of people out there like, oh, it was the apocalypse and they all died. And I'll tell you exactly what killed the Inca. The Spanish, first of all, brought over diseases that they never encountered. They came Ecuadors or whatever they're called, right? They brought over like weird viruses which killed a lot of them. But see, if you ever go to the Inca ruins, there's these big pits and they're full of water. That was their drinking water. But do you know what they were doing? They were sacrificing people and then throwing their dead bodies into the water. Then they were drinking the water. And that's what killed the Inca.
It was a contributing factor.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, dude, one of my earliest ancestors we were actually able to find was ancient Inca and was considered one of the most well-preserved mummies in history.
Wow.
Yeah, well, interesting little fact about me. Apparently, I'm part South American.
You don't look it.
Like it's in the 1 percentile. So
It's in the
according
it's
to the
in the
DNA
genetic
test.
makeup. It's in the genetic makeup. But look, there's
Makeup?
going to makeup. Oh my God, I've went mad. Jenny, help me! I went mad. I went mad, didn't I? I don't know what's going on.
You've went?
I've
You've
went mad.
went?
I can't. Did you? Oh, talking about shows. Did you see the Chris and Alan show on the other day? Oh my God.
Was that your little test stream that you were trying to work?
Aye, and it all just went terribly wrong. I think Jenny was rolling about laughing because right, I'm going to admit this. I don't clean my car during the winter months, right? I always wait till it's spring and then I clean my car, like a lot of people do, right? My car's dusty
Right.
inside it, and Alan's sitting next to me, and I know he's watching this now, and he kept going on about orbs. It's dust, right? Oh, look at the orb! Look at it. Kept going on about orbs. Did you not watch that? It's only 15 minutes long. And he kept going on, and on about orbs, right? And then the phone fell, and I went, "Oh, Jesus, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I've been tugging my wire." Then for the best bit, Alan was getting annoyed with me because I was saying I didn't believe in orbs, and he says, "I'm no an orb, I'm a knob." He called himself
You're
a knob.
breaking that, man. You know that?
He said he called himself a knob on camera. It's on Facebook if anybody would like to go and watch it.
Oh, God. Yeah, we got to get that sorted out if you're going to keep trying to use the app.
I know how to fix it, but I'll talk to you after the show about that. But anyway, it was a test stream. It was a test stream. So I was tugging my wire.
Yeah, once again,
the phone fell out.
You're trying to get me to play tech support from how far away?
And what do you call it? Alan called himself a knob. So otherwise, everything went fine on the test stream, you know. But getting back into religions and stuff like that, I mean, Christianity. Would you say Christianity is a cult?
Again, the only separation is the fact that their major figures are dead.
Yeah. So you could say the same about other religions in the world. You know?
Yeah.
It's... Look, we don't know what happens in the end. I heard that it was a psychic that told me once that... Right. A psychic told me this once, right? There's people out there that believe they're going to go to heaven because of always good in life. There's people out there that believe in other religions, but I think we all go to the same place. And that's what she tells me. We all go to the same place.
You know, here's another thing. And it's something that kind of ticks me off when it comes to a lot of UFO circles, because I'm seeing the religious aspect of it slowly leak into that as well. And if we're going to actually have any legitimacy, we need to kill that where it stands now. Yeah. But if you look at every major religion, what is one thing they all have in common? There's one thing in particular I want to point out.
Right.
They all have some sort of idea of a savior coming to save everybody.
Exactly.
Every single one of these religions are taught around the idea that if they do good, someone good will come and fix all the problems in the world. In the UFO field, you get talked about like secret space programs and trying to track down certain rogue satellites that are belonging to black government and all this. And they say, oh, we just need to sit and wait for someone else to do it. Here's the thing. Why do all these things want us to sit and on our asses expecting somebody else to do the work? Why do they all want everybody sitting on their asses waiting for someone else to do the work? When we ourselves, when the very figures these religions claim to respect, claim to admire, claim to follow, these very same figures all say, you all had the power to do this by yourself. Why are you waiting?
It's all control, innit? It's all control. Because let's face it, if we go to Christianity, they're waiting for Jesus to return, the Messiah to come back, right? And then if we go to Islam, they're all waiting for Muhammad to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we go to other religions, like whatever Scientologists, they think the spaceship's got to come down and take them all away and all that kind of stuff, right? I think we should all be working together and no waiting for the people or whatever they were. I really do. And I think that's the only way we're going to move forward in this world.
You know, Robin, one of our followers, Robin, she asked a very good question. She was just suggesting something we could look into for our show, and I think this is a very valid point. She was asking, how can we on Earth start to prepare for galactic life? Welcoming the ETs. First off, a lot of them are optimistic about what's coming. They are, when it talking from the ET side of things. I can tell you some of my latest stories that haven't gotten around to sharing yet. But the main thing they're concerned about, and it's why they have the process in place that they're going to do, is that they are concerned about the fact that we look for every excuse in the book to try to hate on other people just because they're different.
I know. Yeah.
And we need to stop that.
Yeah.
We need to be able to work together.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, right? Say there was an alien species that landed on Earth that looked exactly the same as us, but they were blue.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All the hatred towards African Americans, all the hatred towards us as people like that would turn to the blue people. And then eventually, after maybe 100 years or so, we'd all be getting on together. And then red people would arrive. And then they would all gang up on the red people. That's humans. We need to stop racism. We really need to stop racism. And I think that's the only way going forward.
And
it's not just that.
You may say that you have all of these different movements going, like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. Every single one of those movements has been compromised. It has.
Yeah.
They're not looking for equality. Feminism, racism, anything that goes against this type of stuff, they are not looking for equality. They are looking to be the top dog, to turn around and do exactly what they think everybody else has been doing to them.
See, it's like everybody's like, oh, we don't like doing this, we don't like doing that, we don't like the way the government treats us. So then one person will say, well, why don't you all stand up against the government? And they'll be, oh, we can't do that.
Exactly. Once again, there's that mentality that somebody else is going to come along and fix everything. And they're like, and maybe even someone does come along. Say someone does come along, and they slowly start gaining followers. What happens? JFK, Martin Luther King.
Yep.
They all die under mysterious circumstances, and I would love to get that lawyer that represented the Martin Luther King's family after his death, because he allegedly made it to the hospital alive, but was snuffed out there.
Oh yeah, but look, JFK, I think he was done in, right? I think he was done in by his own kind, right? And that is honest truth. He knew more. He knew more about
and he was about to come out with it.
Yeah, and it's the same with Martin Luther King. I mean, he was fighting for freedom for the colored people. I mean, that had been treated like slaves for hundreds of years. And what did they do? They didn't want to lose that, so they get rid of him.
Exactly.
Look, we need, the whole lot of us need to stand up and say enough is enough. We need to change. We need to change the world. And I know there's people out there like, oh, but the aliens, there's them on TikTok, but the aliens are coming to save us, and you don't need to do anything because they'll come down in their spaceships and they'll take
waiting for somebody else to come and do the work. Get off your lazy asses, motherfuckers.
But maybe the extraterrestrials will come, but maybe they're waiting. Maybe this is why they're waiting. They're waiting for us all to rise up against all the world governments, right? And once we do that, they will come and help. But they're not wanting, because they're feared. I know they're feared. The aliens are feared because they think if they landed now, the world would turn on them. And so the governments would say, oh, they're going to kill you, or they're going to kill you. And they start shooting them, wouldn't they?
That's
Let's face it.
that's allegedly the big plan. To get everybody in this mindset, the false flag alien invasion. We have we're gonna have cataclysm over cataclysm. It started with COVID, then we're talking about inflation, climate issues. There's going to be possibly even issues where biodiversity of life on Earth starts happening. We maybe start seeing extinction of several different species, which we are seeing right now. They're going to compile all of these disasters that suddenly come out of nowhere, that have happened just because of natural Earth cycles that happen with everything on the Earth, everything within the cosmos. They're going to compile it, frame it into a certain frame, into a certain image, so that way everybody's freaking out, everybody's on edge, just trying to get by, and all of a sudden we got alien invasion knocking at our door. People are going to flip. That's the plan. People are going to flip. And people can say, oh, but people are better now. People are ready. Why do you think the governments, especially here in the U.S., have enough ground to really go after social media platforms now? Talking about like the latest TikTok ban that actually got signed in.
So when's it getting banned? Is it going to get banned?
It still has to go through like the Senate. It's not official yet, but it passed the first major step.
We're
always at the 11th hour.
That'll be traumatic for the Americans. That really will.
Oh, yeah.
But there's other ways of getting that anyway without, there's ways of getting internet services in countries that you can't get internet services in, But no everybody can afford that, though, because you have to have different servers and that kind of stuff.
VPNs and all that. Even the feds are starting to say it might be a good idea with everything that's going on with cyber attacks to use ad blockers, but all these social media companies are doing what they can to fuck up their services if they detect ad blockers because it loses them money.
Yep.
It's happening all over the place.
Of course, it's happening everywhere. It's happening absolutely everywhere. And there's nothing can be done for it. Get what I mean? So we've got about 11 minutes left with what you want to talk about now. Do you want to talk about that thing that you were going to talk about, or do you want to just talk about something else?
I don't know. We honestly go on. I mean, so you think about with that report from RO saying that none of the UFO incidents they investigated had any extraterrestrial ties.
Is no the Pentagon been said that they have to tell in the next 6 months? Have they not been ordered to tell who these?
There's allegedly been an ultimatum issued, yes, but at the same time, a lot of the major representatives that are speaking on behalf of this are also claiming they're getting men in blacked. Their words exactly.
See, look, this is what I don't get. I mean, all the alien stuff's been released now nearly, right? I mean, a lot of it's been released, right? All the pictures, everything, the videos and stuff like that. But everybody still seems to, like, some people are living in eggs, I think, with eggshells. They're like, oh, it's CGI. Look, come on, seriously. I mean, I just feel that people don't really want to think that there is life out in the cosmos. You know what I mean? I think they're happy the way they are on Earth. I think they're afraid that might change everything. Well, it will change everything.
It will. It does. Speaking as someone who's dealt with that ship for as long as he can remember, yeah, it does. It changes everything.
Yeah. You think about it. I mean, society. I wouldn't say if somebody says to me once, "Oh, if the aliens come up, the society will break down and all that kind of." No, I don't think it will. I do think the church will get impacted slightly, right, with the ruling religious people out there. But I think you've got to remember too that a lot of the extraterrestrials out there have their own religions too, don't they? So they believe in a maker. They believe in a maker. They made it a creator.
You look at the case of Ingrid Cold. He allegedly went to a planet. that being allegedly was from a planet that followed a form of Christianity.
Yeah. You got to remember, too, there will be planets out there right now. And I was saying this to somebody actually the other day. There'll be planets out there right now where they're still in the industrial age.
Mm-hmm.
Get what I mean? So they'll be like lower than us, maybe 50 years behind us. And it'll be a while before they come into the thing. See, it's weird, isn't it? I mean, to think out there's thousands of races watching us right now.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them obviously are just like us. They're growing up the same as us. They're like, oh, I wonder when the aliens will come. You know?
Yeah, I know. And at one point during our history, the question of whether or not ETs existed was never really the case. The question was, where the hell is everybody? I mean, you think
Exactly.
about the diversity of life on Earth, all the different creatures that we have living in all these different sorts of environments and things like that. There's the possibility of more dominant life forms going into building up in these extremes. The thought that it doesn't happen is absolutely out there. And,
Yeah.
Louise is right. There's a lot going on in recent days where the thought of ETs, in some cases, the exposure does seem to be helping. It's warming people up to the idea. And that's good. It's a step in the right direction. We still got
To
a
be
lot of
honest with you,
bullshit that we got to sort through, but the right steps are being made.
it needs to happen soon, I think. I think if aliens had to come out the more and land the more, I think it would probably stop the wars in Europe and stuff like that. Before, why are we fighting? We could be doing so much more. We could be flying through the space and exploring new worlds. Instead, we're shooting each other and fighting our stupid resources.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
Lawrence goes to bring up a point. With so much information out there, you kind of wonder: are we ready? When did I become Elmer Fudd? Are we ready and we don't know it? Here's one of those things. There's several aspects of this, and I'll personally attest to this, and many of you have watched my minor freakouts on the air dealing with my stuff, that we don't know for sure what's going to happen until it happens.
Yeah.
That's the simple truth. Some people aren't going to be able to face that type of question until they actually see, oh shit, that's an alien.
Yeah, I think it will happen soon, to be honest with you. I think it's going to happen soon, within the next year or two. I think it's just going to happen one day. You're going to wake up and they're going to be here. Right? Again, there's going to be the religious fanatics out there that will try and attack them, that will shoot at them, but obviously, hopefully, their shields are on, But you're going to get that. You're going to get people that cause problems, like the witch hunts. And they're again in the 16th century, 17th century, the witch hunts. You're going to get that. You're going to get, oh, they're demons. They're demons. They're coming to infect us with their bastard things and they're going to take us away. I mean, there's going to be folk like that, right? It'll just take time for them to learn,
That's all we have is time. The time for us to achieve all these miraculous things is out there. But we always got to keep moving forward. That's simple put.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen. And we just got to keep going forward. And we got to keep going forward together. If you got somebody you're lucky enough that you can share this type of stuff freely and open with, show them your appreciation in whatever way you can. Even if you just say, hey, I appreciate everything.
Well,
that's the first
just
step.
To see what happens. That's to see what happens. So, tomorrow's guest, who have we got, Dakota?
You got that Rick McCallum that you were talking with on Emerald Isle. Out of curiosity, did you sort out the freaking time thing yet?
Well, I think it's sorted out. I'll message him after when I go because he's in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Because
So
it's like I remember we're in that time period where we're in between the daylight savings between U.S. and UK.
yeah,
So it's like it's almost
what's
5
that there?
o'clock for me right now.
Yeah, but what's that there for Louise? There, I think what
Happened with the Big C has helped awaken people to scenarios that they wouldn't have thought was possible. You're onto it. You're
Yep.
right. Simple put.
Yeah. If everything is an illusion, if you really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something we should get in it one day. We should do a show on it. Is are we living in a simulation?
Ooh, that would be interesting. Ooh, excuse me.
I mean, maybe it's a simulation. The entire universe is a simulation. You don't know. So that's an interesting one.
Maybe.
You know. So, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow we have Rick McCallum, which I think will be an interesting show. He was also on Emerald Isle's Paranormal Researchers. That's a big word that I remembered that. See, my brain's still working. Go and check Emerald Isle's Paranormal Research out. I was on their show last night, so was Dakota. You want to go and check their show out and their channel. Give them a little subscribe. You know. I think on Monday, me and Jenny's got to be doing myths and legends of Ireland and Scotland.
Ooh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, the Loch Ness monster is coming to get you. He's seen it with his own eyes. He has.
I seen it with me on papers.
Aye, it came
and if you don't believe me, look about UFO. I mean, not UFO. Loch Ness sightings back in 2018. That was the very first one.
Yeah, he was there.
According to
he
the
was
register.
There. That. Hey, they're building a monument to him. Aye, aye.
Well, that would be awesome. Give me an excuse to go back to Scotland.
You could have your pointing going like that, you know.
Yeah, I think my face would be something along the lines of...
Maybe they'll build you a monument one day, you know. He brought peace to the world in space. You know, 0G floating about in space.
Zero G orgasms with my baby mama.
Mm-hmm. Here's a question for you. Where did you get married?
There was... What I remember... It's a bit tricky dealing with this type of stuff, but from what I remember, there was a bit of almost like an artificial garden that the ceremony was held in.
Oh.
It was one. We got together relatively young, but somehow we're still helping each other out. And damn, time travel is going to make things even more confusing. What's that?
So you could really be your father and your grandfather then?
Or there's a slight possibility that my wife and I are having love triangles with our future selves, like something out of a very weird Doctor Who fanfic.
But I mean, you think about it, could that be a possibility? If you went back in time, could you become your grandfather?
In theory, but there would clearly be some accidental byproducts from that.
See that makes you wonder. I mean, it's like a paradox, that, isn't it? That's like a paradox.
It does make you wonder.
You know.
It does make you
So,
wonder.
ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have a fantastic night. I hope the aliens come. Oh, what?
I know we're starting to get a little overtime, but do you honestly, man, just with what I was talking about, what we should probably, get ahead of. You think we should do it?
When you go, might as well. You do all the talking. I'll sit here and slip my raspberry.
Yeah, leave me to what happened the fucking very first official episode of this. I did most of the talking for it.
When you go.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. Yeah, trust me, it took a lot of moral debate on whether or not I should talk about this, but I want this chapter of my life to be closed. But earlier on in the episode, I said that there was someone who reached out that I honestly thought I never thought I heard from again. those of you who've been watching the show in whatever format since the very beginning know that Bald and Bonkers was created out of a bit of a feud. We learned that apparently someone who organized the group that Chris and I met through had gone to prison for some serious criminal allegations, and with what we were presented, there was a good amount of evidence to support that he had been involved with an underage girl. And naturally, this is something that not just bothers both Chris and I, just because, of the morality of the situation, but we both have had loved ones affected by it pretty severely. I've talked pretty open about my stuff. I'm working on a new book that ties everything up to hopefully clear up some of the confusion. But that's another thing. I feel like I need to address this. I don't want to give this any more airtime than possible.
Yeah.
There's allegations that this dude was allegedly set up, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, I'm in the States. I can't know the truth 100%. Because quite frankly, I don't trust the people that are involved. And I'm saying this because I know this individual has been watching us. And it's nothing against him. If you are genuinely innocent, you have every right to go prove yourself. And I will be first to admit, I apologize. But in the events that you start seeing controversy stir up, do use your own discernment. Because I do not trust these people. They have shown that they are willing to pick at everything to try to tear me and Chris apart back. And they didn't realize how much we were going back and forth about this to try to prevent that. Just use your own discernment if you start seeing anything about Chris and I here in the near future. That's all I want to say about it.
Yeah, look, and there's no point trying to contact me because I don't want to talk. So that's
that chapter of our life is closed.
Yeah.
We'll say
there's no point contacting me because I'll just block you every way possible. I'll just block you on Messenger, which I've tried, and I've changed my phone number now, so I'm afraid you can't there.
Yeah, I will say this. I'll admit it was nice getting to hear from him again, and for like half a second, it felt like old times when we all first got started and felt like we were actually after something. But we got something better going on with Bald and Bonkers.
Oh yeah.
We got a good thing going. We don't want to screw it up. And I also want to address this because we do have some very high-profile individuals that we've been conversing with to try to get on for interviews of the show that wouldn't want to deal with that drama. So this is why it was advised to me that in some way they knew that I would address it the best way I saw fit, to address it ahead of time in the event something happens, so that way it's out there.
Yeah. Yep, you're 100% correct. As long as I'm left alone, I'll be happy.
Exactly. So I think that covers just about everything. We're approaching the end of the hour, and we don't have our Jenny to have their famous Irish goodbye.
Jenny! Jenny! No. Wait the note. She's dyed her hair blonde again. Right, wait the note. Here we go. I'll kid on him, Jenny. Oh, hello there, Happy Island, Good night, everyone. Wow. I think she would like it.
Oh, God, Chris.
Jenny, I'm sorry. Please don't happen.
Y'all have a good night, y'all.
Goodbye.
on. Well, welcome to this late edition
actually
of the
made it
Bald and Bonkers Show. Right? We actually made it. Fucking time zones and technical issues galore.
Honestly, guys, I've never had as much trouble on a live before. Rick, thank you for coming on tonight. I know it was last night, but we had technical problems. Thank you so much for coming on. And my God, do you have like spirits attached to you that follow you about?
That's more true than you know.
Do you? So you do have like an attachments. You do have attachments then?
No, I don't think it's attachments. I think I have things that follow me around.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, who we all got there? We've got Dots MC. Let's see here. I think I've lost my co-host again. We have. We'll wait for it to fill up for a minute. Hey, Ken, it's good to see you. So, Rick, how are you this weather? How's things this weather?
I didn't hear you.
How are things this weather?
Oh, weather out here is fine. I mean, I live in Southern California. It's 70 every day.
I know. Well, I've seen it on the live webcams. I've seen is it the Venice Beach, and it's beautiful. It's like sunsets, and it's a beautiful location to go to. Did you ever get any earthquakes? Were you?
Oh yeah, I was in one that was terrifying, but that was in 1996.
Really?
Yeah, it was a 7.0, and it knocked the shit out of everything.
I remember that. Is that the one where the freeway collapsed on top of the other cars?
Yeah, a lot of stuff collapsed.
I bet it did. So, Rick, can you, because we've only really got about 48 minutes or so, can you tell us a wee bit about yourself?
Well, I can.
Good man.
I think I can. I know me better than anybody else does.
Yeah.
I was in the movie business for over 40 years, and I've been hunting ghosts for over 50 years. I've been in about 75 movies. I've done probably 25 live stream hunts. Did a lot of stuff with Dark Zone. We did the Conjuring House. We did the Queen Mary. We did Balgony Castle in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite.
Yes.
So I've actually done quite a bit of stuff. You may have seen my group, the Hollywood Ghost Hunters, on Ghost Adventures. We were the first group, I believe, to actually ghost hunt with them. I don't know if they've ever had anybody else do it since.
It's usually just themselves. Old Zach Bagans and his crew. It's very unusual to see them with other ghost hunters. You'll see them interviewing them, but you never see them with them. You know?
Yeah, I mean, they come in and they say what happened, and then they shoo them out.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, we actually did the ghost hunting with them, so that was pretty interesting.
Have you ever been? I was going to ask you. Have you ever been to the Hollywood sign? They say that's meant to be really active.
I used to live right behind the Hollywood sign, believe it or not.
Really?
There's supposed to be a ghost of a girl up there named Peg Entwistle, who was an actress who came out, and they told her that this first movie that she was in, that as somebody said, they cut out all of her scenes, And she just said, I'm never going to
Yeah.
make it. She climbed up to the top of the H of the Hollywood sign and jumped off and killed herself. Well,
Wow.
the sad part is they hadn't cut all of her stuff out. So
See, that's
she,
quite
yeah,
that's
so
quite interesting.
yeah.
That is quite interesting. That is.
yeah, so,
What would you say? Yeah. When you go, sorry.
no, I was just listening to you.
Oh. So, Rick, what would you say in Los Angeles itself? What would you say was the most haunted part of that city?
Well, I would say it is a place that we used to do live streams from. It was the Los Angeles Museum, LAPD Museum, and and that's where they took all of the evidence from, like the Marilyn Monroe case, the Sharon Tate when they all got murdered, the Night Stalker, all the evidence from there is located in this one building, and we were there many times for ghost hunts that we were doing for Dark Zone, and every time we went back, there was more happening, and it was getting really intense. And then the person that we had to hook up with, they actually transferred her somewhere else, so we don't go there anymore. But it was very, very haunted, that place.
I honestly would imagine so. You'd be given just everything that would be there. But I was kind of wonder, based on your experience when it comes to both Hollywood and paranormal investigation, do you feel that your background could actually help determine potential fraudulent evidence when it comes to the paranormal?
Absolutely. I was a stunt coordinator for quite a long time. And part of the job of that is watching very carefully to make sure that all the punches look like they're connecting and everything else is all together. So my group, I mean, we've got 2 directors in my group. We've got a whole bunch of actors. We've got special effects people. If there was ever a group that you're not going to fake out, it's us. Right? Because, I mean, we will spot everything. And most of the people, like Richard Friedman and Adam Green, are horror directors. So they're used to seeing all the different things. But no, you're not going to get anything by us, fake stuff. I've actually had people ask me, is this real? Is this not? And I'll just tell them straight out. I said, no, it's not real. Yeah. And I'll tell you why. Look behind. Right? And they would look behind. I said, you see the shadow there of the person that's standing off to the side? They'd say, well, yeah, that's who's making that, doing that stuff right there. So yeah, that's fake. But I don't get a lot of it,
I've noticed now that especially in the YouTube community, especially in the TikTok community, there's an awful lot of people faking stuff now. I have noticed that there's a lot of faking going on. And it's a bad thing because it's given like other like good ghost hunters, like in the chat and everybody else, it's getting bad names because people will like that when you see something, if you capture something, people will be like, oh, it's fake, you fake that. What's your opinion on, like, say, the YouTubers out there that have got like 100,000 followers, but they fake everything? What's your opinion on them?
Yeah, but those people end up getting caught eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, I happen to be a member of a group in Scotland called Scottish Paranormal. And,
I know that. Yeah.
And Scottish Paranormal is above board as, I mean, they are as good a ghost hunters as you'll ever find. And they would not put up with anything like that.
Yeah.
And frankly, neither will I. I mean, I've called people out before, and I've also told them, I said, just, knock off with all the, you're trying to provoke things. I just tell them, I said, don't do that. And they go, why? I said, if I came over to your house and started saying the stuff that you're saying here, would you want me to stay? And they'd go, well, no. I said, then why do you expect something that you can't see, that doesn't have to interact with you if it doesn't want to? Why do you think acting like a jerk is going to get a response? So I don't, Yeah, I don't let anybody do that. I mean, I don't let people talk to me like that on the street. I don't think you guys do either. So, that's
Yeah.
not going to work.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I've always thought to myself, why did they do that? They see a location, they'll walk in, and the first thing they'll do, I know a lot of ghost hunters that'll walk in, they'll introduce themselves, they'll ask, can we come in? Can we basically, can you communicate with us to do such and such? But I've seen ghost hunters out there, and some that I know on Facebook and that will go into a location, and the first thing they start doing is screaming, calling them everything under the sun.
Yeah.
And I think that's totally wrong. Yeah, because all they're really wanting is to get like maybe attacked or something like that, so they can make loads of money.
Well, I got to tell you, I got no respect for people that do that. None.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to see a ghost unless the ghost wants you to see him. Okay. Yeah. And I try and explain to people. They say, "Well, you always have things calling your name. You always have so much interaction." I said, "It's simple. I'm nice to the spirits." I said, "I go in, I introduce myself. I said, I always say how the equipment works and everything else. Tell them if they want to make, I tell them I have a voice recorder. If you have a message for someone, I can get it to them." Right. So I've already started off in a friendly manner. And people always say, "Rick, you get your name called out more than anybody we ever heard of." And I said, "Well, there's a reason for that." And they said, "Well, we didn't call out our names." I said, "Did you tell him your name?" No. Yeah. I said, right. I did when I walked in. I introduced myself. Right. So try that, by the way. You guys know Torwood?
All the time.
You guys know Torwood Castle? I was there with Gregor and Ryan from Scottish Paranormal, a couple other people. I think Lee Dunn was there also. And I have a habit with I have my cell phone when I'm taking pictures. I have it voice activated, so I can lift it up if I'm trying to get a shot from some, that's kind of on a weird angle. And I'll go, shoot, and the camera will go off, right?
Yeah.
Well, Ryan O'Neill, who's on Haunted Scotland, I think is the name of the show, he's listening back to his DR60 recorder, and on there it goes, shoot, Rick. I was like, well, wait a minute, let's not shoot Rick. And Gregor says, no, he says that's he's talking about the camera because you're always going shoot. And it's just saying to you, shoot, Rick, like take a picture.
See, that's amazing. That is amazing. That just shows you the intelligence behind that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I live in Hollywood. I'm not used to intelligence.
That's very true. We've actually got a question from Emerald Isles paranormal researchers, Jenny. I know you have a great interest in Rosslyn Chapel. Why are there so many green men depicted in the exterior of the chapel?
Well, I don't know the exact reason for that. I've heard them explain it, and it has something to do with some Irish folklore, if I recall. And it's like a symbol of something. So they have it on the inside of the chapel, and they also have some on the outside of the chapel. And I have been over that place so many times, outside, out in the glen, down to the castle. I'll be back there, and I'm going back in June, and we'll go down there for 2 or 3 days to just, amble through there and see what we can find. One of the scariest things, by the way, that ever happened to me happened in Roslyn. I was staying at a lady's house who was nice enough to have let me stay at her house when I couldn't get a hotel room. And I had never met this lady. She was a little older than me. And she said, "Hey, I'm going to England to visit my sister. You can have my house for 10 days. But I mean, it was so cool. But anyway,
we're having some weird problems.
But anyway, we lost Dakota. There he is.
I'm here.
And we're having some weird fluctuations in the dilithium crystals, I think.
well, where's Scotty, for God's sake?
Captain.
I used to feel so bad for Scotty when he was on what the heck was the name of that show? Where it was Captain Kirk and all those dudes, Star Trek.
Yeah.
Every show he'd sit there and they'd go warp factor 10, Scotty, and he'd go, "Oh, I can't get it up that high. It'll blow. It'll blow. We can't go that warp factor." And every time he would do it, it never blew up. Just once, I wanted that thing to go, and then have him to hear his voice out there and go, "I told you so."
Hey, Captain, the delivering crystals. We can't hold the power, Captain. We're all doomed.
Yeah, just once I wanted to see that thing blow up and kill everybody because
I know.
either Scotty was the greatest mechanic or the worst. I don't know which one it was.
Well, he used to always tell the captain it'll take 2 hours, and the job only took like half an hour. I think he did that deliberately, so to make the captain think that he did it quick.
Yeah,
but you were saying about Rosslyn Chapel. I mean, Rosslyn Chapel is obviously famous with like the Holy Grail and the Knights Templars and stuff like that. But have you ever? When you go?
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I don't know if anybody here that's in the chat and that's ever seen inside. I mean, inside it's beautiful. I've been there a few times and it's stunning. But what I have noticed about the Rosslyn is there's been a lot of UFO sightings there, a high number of UFO sightings in the area. And I'm wondering if it's got something to do with that chapel, because it has got, did you notice it's got a sealed up underground part that's never been opened since the 17th century?
I haven't seen anything UFO wise out there. But I did have one of the scariest things ever happen to me at Rosslyn. I was walking out of the chapel itself, and then as you're walking down, there's a yellow building where Robert Burns and all these people had stayed, and there's a little thing that goes downhill down to the graveyards and stuff, and there's about a 200-yard straight line of hedges for where cars drive in and out. And as I was walking by, there was 2 older ladies, and as I walked by, I said, "Afternoon, ladies." And I walked past them, and I'm looking over at the yellow building, and I hear, but I mean, 25 times louder than that, just right in front of me, and I just freeze, right? Because 2 things. I thought first thing was it was an attack dog, right? But it was much louder than an attack dog. And then I've also heard that people have seen a Black Panther behind Rosslyn Chapel.
I've heard that.
So I thought maybe he's out here and he's, I look like lunch, so I freeze.
I've always wondered where all the American tourists disappear to.
Yeah. Oh, he's a chubby little rascal. Maybe he's tasty. So anyway, I freeze and I just turn my head real slow and there's nothing there. So I go scooting up real fast and I look down to see if anybody had walked down that walkway. Nobody there. I looked in the back behind both parking lots. There's nobody there. Nothing there. So I'm thinking, oh boy, I got a brain aneurysm or something, right? And the 2 ladies walked up to me and they stopped and they looked at me and they go, "We heard it too," right? Now, this could only be described as something that was demonic. I mean, so loud and right? So now I'm kind of freaked out a little bit. And I've got 8 miles to walk through the forest, through the Glen and through the forest and everything else to get over to Dalkeith where I was staying. And as I finally got there, one of the coolest things ever, I was about a block away and I'm standing there waiting to cross the street. And I was still really shaken up by that sound. And I just looked up and I said, I think I could use a little help on this. Right. And I looked down and my shadow had a big cross right behind me. And I was like, well, that's a pretty good sign. I'll go with that. Right? So it's actually in my first book. The picture's in there. And it's really something. I mean, it'll knock your socks off. I gotta find that and show it to you. But yeah, that was really something. There's so many weird things that happen. Rosslyn itself, the whole thing of Rosslyn, walking around there, a lot of people don't realize that the bloodiest battle between the English and the Scots was in Rosslyn.
That's right. It was.
Yeah, in 1303, and it's and it's one of the biggest routes the Scots ever did to the English, and they were outnumbered like 30,000 to 8,000. Yeah. And the whole thing is that the only English they said that survived were the fast ones.
I think that there's actually a story now. I can't remember all of it, but there's a story. You know how Roslyn's got a glen,
Yeah.
and it's how the English cavalry were slaughtered in that glen by the Scottish. They all waited with English cavalry and wiped them all out. But you've got Roslyn Castle too, which is an interesting place. You ever been there?
I've been on the tour so many times. Matter of fact, though, they kind of gave me the dirty look because I asked the guy that ran the place. I said, "Okay, I got a question for you," and they said, "What is that?" I said, "Well, there's a lot of stuff saying that the Knights Templar brought the Holy Grail here," and he goes, "Yeah, that's one of the things they say." And I said, "I want to know how that's possible." And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, it was 1307. They pretty much got wiped out." Right, the Knights Templar. Yeah. And I said, and this building was built in 1446. That's almost 150 years later.
Yep.
How did this thing get here? And he just stopped and was like,
Yeah, I've got friends that are Masons, and I asked this question. You came at the Scottish Free Rite Masons are like, they're really secretive. And I asked them about it, and it's quite interesting. One of them told me that it was so they could hide something. I honestly don't think that the Holy Grail is a cup. I think it's something else. I think it's something totally different and something ancient, you know?
Well, there's stories about other castles, Balgony Castle for one.
Yep.
There's supposed to be something buried under the chapel.
Heard that. I've heard.
The guy that was the laird over there, Raymond Morris, I became good friends with him. He was a very nice man, older. He just passed away last year. He was 93, I think.
Oh.
But he came to me the first time I was there. We just bonded. I mean, and he actually took me upstairs to his private residence. So we all went up there. And as we're walking up, Gregor just says to me, he goes, "He's never taken us up there." Right? So just somehow we connected. And I think it was because I was very interested in everything he was talking about. And I also have a sort of an obsession about the Knights Templar.
Oh, yeah.
So he has all this Knights Templar stuff in his castle. So finally I asked him, I said, "Boy, you got a lot of Knights Templar stuff in here." And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "By the way, can you keep a secret?" And I said, "Yeah." So as I'm walking out, he goes, and he tells me a secret. And I just went, "What?" Right? And he goes, I said, "Are you serious?" He goes, "Yeah, I am." So until the next year when I could come back, I didn't tell anybody. Came back and he looks at me and he goes, "Did you tell anybody the secret?" And I said, "No." He goes, "Good, because I only told you half the secret." I said, "Okay, what's the whole secret then?" And he told me, and because he passed away, they have written about it in his obituary, that there are actually living Knights Templars in the United States. There are many in Scotland, and he was actually the Grand Master of them.
Yep.
That was my big buddy. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, there's a whole lot more to that. Like I said, there's supposed to be something buried under the chapel at Balgony.
Well, yeah, I've actually been lucky enough years before I started doing YouTube. I actually was lucky enough to meet one of them, and everybody thinks. See how you got all these online things where become a Knights Templar, join the group on Facebook and stuff. They're fake. They're no Knights Templars. They're no Knights Templars. I've met a real Knights Templar, and they're off the Masonic Lodge. If you join the Masonic Lodge, you can make your way in to the Knights Templar.
Yeah,
what I've been told. Yeah.
Well, there's a temple that's 8 miles from Roslyn, and it's in a little city called Temple, and they named it after the temple. And it was actually a Knights Templar headquarters and temple, And I went there with Ryan O'Neill and Gregor Stewart, two of the head honchos of Scottish Paranormal. And we were getting responses all over the place. And I asked them, I said, "You know what? I got the weirdest feeling that I have been here before." And they said, "Yeah, we always get that ourselves." So I asked, I said, hey, has any of us been here before? And you know what the answer was? It went, de trois, which is 1, 2, 3 in French.
In French. Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's bizarre. By the way,
blow you up so people can see.
That's the big. That's my shadow. You see it?
That's amazing. That is.
Yeah.
And if you see the picture on the left, that's right where I heard the growl.
See, that's actually quite interesting. That it makes you wonder. I mean, the Roslyn itself has got a lot of like strange things. I mean, I've heard a lot of tales for the Roslyn area. That's where my mother's mother came from, was Roslyn, and their family dates back a long time. And I've heard strange stories about black dogs with red eyes and stuff like that farmers would see out in the fields and things. It makes you wonder what they're actually protecting, doesn't it?
It's interesting. I've actually been. There's a place right next to this little river where William Wallace used to hide in this cave when he was trying to hide from when the British were chasing him.
Yeah.
And I actually was able to go in there. Man, a friend of mine, Brian Harley, who has a thing called Premier Paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I asked him, I said, yeah, I've looked for that thing all the time. He says, well, you have to have permission to go on there. I said, oh, okay. He goes, well, I have permission. Come on, I'll take you. So we went over there and went inside the cave and everything else. It was actually really cool. So I don't know how many people get to go in there, but this guy
there's actually quite a few Wallace's caves round about Scotland. I mean, I'm only like 12 miles from Lanark, and in the movie when they went, we're marching to Lanark, I'm really close to, but that is near Lanark itself. At one time was quite a bustling centre of attention before Edinburgh was there, and there's actually a cave that goes into the side of the hill that's called Wallace's Cave, and it goes way in next to the river.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's the one where it's actually kind of an open cave. The one next to Roslyn is in the face of a stone cliff, and you have to go out and walk on a thing that's about that wide to get in. You can't see it from where you're standing up on top.
Yeah,
and you really can't see it from down below. You have to be on the perfect angle to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been inside, and I thought, what an easy place to defend. I mean, you can hear them coming, right?
Yep.
Space is only like this wide, and it's about a 40-foot drop. All you got to do is stand there with your sword. When somebody walks up, just go poke.
I just do them all poke.
Yeah, poke. So, yeah.
I must admit, Scotland obviously is an amazing place. I mean, it's full of amazing things. Obviously, Dakota here, he actually had the privilege of meeting Nessie. Dakota, why don't you say?
Well, you know what's funny about Nessie?
Ooh.
The first person who saw Nessie was St. Columba.
Yeah.
That's right.
My name, McCallum, comes from St. Columba.
Oh.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, Loch Ness is a very interesting loch. It's very, very deep. We know that. I mean, Dakota, actually, what channel was it you were on for your sighting?
It was National Geographic that I was
National
on.
Geographic. Have you ever been to Loch Ness?
Oh, yeah.
Rick?
Yeah, I've actually stayed in Inverness many days.
It's an amazing place. Yep.
I had been out on the boat, going out on there, and very interesting place. I actually had breakfast with some ghost hunting friends right next to the water, and we were not too far from the Boleskine house, which was, if you know the Boleskine house, that was what was that guy's name?
We're talking about Alistair Crowley.
Alistair Crowley.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that burnt to the ground. Strangely, it burnt to the ground, but they're rebuilding it.
They were rebuilding it when I was there last year. And we went in there, and there's a graveyard right across the way.
There is.
And there was a girl there. I was there with Liam Shand, who was one of the TAPS guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Claire is also. And Claire Rare, my camera, I had so many pictures I couldn't take anymore. I had no more space. So she was taking all these pictures for me. And her camera, I mean, she's a fantastic photographer. And, you know, this girl, Claire Rare, I have never seen anybody work dowsing rods like her. And I'm very skeptical about stuff, right? And I was watching to see if there was like a micro movement. And I mean, this girl didn't budge, right? And she was getting answers instantly to everything. But the real weird thing is, everybody says, you should try them. I said, I've tried them. They don't work for me. And they said, they go, no. And they go, why? I said, watch. And I took the things. I've done this every single time somebody's asked me. I picked them up and held them. I said, would you please point to the person that has the most power? And they always go, no. Turn back and point directly at me. I'm like, okay. So I'll take it.
I've researched Loch Ness and I found that it's really interesting because there's a lot of ley lines run through Loch Ness. I mean, a lot of ley lines run through Loch Ness. And I think that's maybe why Aleister Crowley stayed there. I think he was using the ley lines to for energy to conjure all strange creatures.
Well, for a stupid American, what is a wailing?
A whale? A what?
What are you saying? It sounds like you're saying whalings.
Oh God!
No, he's saying ley lines.
Ley lines. Okay.
Damn it, Captain! Can you know where's the universal translator, Captain? It's not working.
Chris, I told you this before. When I come on, you need to turn down your Scottish accent filter.
It took me 3 months to convince him when we first met to calm down so I could understand what he said.
Okay, the new. I'll tell you this. The new. Aye.
Oh, well, you know Ryan O'Neill. He's got one of the strongest ones too.
Yeah.
And we were in Ireland driving along. He's telling me something from the back seat. I just turned around and I said, "Will you speak English?" Right. So
that's the worst thing you can do.
So what he started doing is he started going doodly doodly doo, deedly deedly dee. It's like, stop it. So
there's actually a question from Dots MC. What's that, Dakota? Do you want to read that out to him?
Dots asks if you have seen any UFOs, being that you're near a major hotspot. It's Los Angeles, Dots. Of course, there's a lot of shit that goes down there.
A lot of strange things in Los Angeles.
I mean, if you walk around Venice Beach, you'll think there's aliens walking on the boardwalk. I mean,
yeah,
there are some freaky people. But yeah, I have seen two. I have one really good picture. And you guys are familiar with the Swilken Bridge?
Yeah.
At St. Andrews?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's famous. That's where everybody that's playing their last big tournament round and is going to retire, it goes to the 18th hole. And all of the people, Arnold Palmer and, Jack Nicklaus and all those people have all stood there looking off into the distance and getting their picture on the Swilken Bridge. So everybody wants their picture on this bridge. So I was walking along and there was a group of people and they said, "Hey, will you mind taking a picture of us?" I said, "No, not at all." So I took it and I thought, you know what, I should get a picture of this just to prove everybody I was here. And I asked this girl, I said, "Will you take a picture of me on the Swilken Bridge?" And handed her my camera. Well, she did it in burst mode, if you know what that is. It's like every half second it goes click, 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 click.
Yep.
And it's actually on my desktop. I can't show you because I'd probably disconnect all of you. But it's on my desktop. And I'm looking up there and I have folders on my desktop. Right.
Yeah.
So one day I decided to clean some off and I moved one and there's a disc-shaped object in the background. And I'm like, what is that? Right. So I blow it up as much as I can. It actually looks like a football almost going through it's kind of darker and it's shaped like that. But it's probably 400 to 500 yards away from me. Right.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, that is strange. So I said, let me look. And I went in there and I did not know. That's when I found out it was on burst mode.
Yep.
There's the
We're back.
There we are.
Every time.
Most of it again. See, we've started See,
But
we started
anyway,
talking about aliens and stuff now, and this is
well, what happened was I went back to look at it, and I went back and found the picture, and I looked and I saw the other ones. So I said, all right, so let me look. So I looked at the one that was directly in front of it, nothing there. I looked at the one directly after it, nothing there. Okay, now
that's interesting.
yeah, I mean, that was a matter of like less than a second, you know.
You must
But
have
they
just
also
caught
had
it.
they had a guy that was in a cart. I don't know if you guys have ever been to St. Andrews. They had a guy that was right near the starter shack, and he was starting to come.
Yep.
You know, and he was driving, and I mean, he maybe went a foot, right? So, but there it is, right in the middle of the sky, and I mean, it's not a bird, it's not anything else, because it couldn't be a bird. You'd never see it that far away, but not a plane. Nothing would come through that fast. But that's the one that I've seen in Scotland. I've seen others out here.
Yeah. I mean, Scotland's got its UFOs like anywhere else, but I would say the most busy place was the United States. I wouldn't say that because obviously,
When I was there in Scotland, they were telling me there are a lot of places like Dumbarton, the bridge there, I believe it is supposed to be very UFO friendly. You know, and there's supposed to be a lot of places that got a lot of UFOs out there, which makes sense. See, now I don't know if your place has more than we have out here, but you can see them. Now, out here, we have 10 million people in Los Angeles, and there's so much ambient light. There could be one sitting on your roof, and you couldn't see it. You know? So, you know, you have to be out, you know, where you can see the stars and everything else. And I've actually seen another one in New Mexico because I was driving through there one night. It was about 2 a.m. And I was just stunned by the sky. I mean, it looked like every postcard of astronomy. I mean, you could see every star, the Milky Way. So I pulled my car over, and I went over and I sat on the hood and leaned back down the windshield. And I'm just looking, and I see a satellite because you can see the satellites moving, right? And I see a satellite, and I'm watching it, and it's going, and it goes. I was like, oh, 90-degree turn, and boom, gone. I was like, that was not a satellite. And I saw the exact same thing, same movement, same everything else at a place in the Redwood Forest when I was doing a movie up there, right on the California-Oregon border. And they were shooting late at night, and I was stunt coordinating, but there was nothing for me to do in this scene. So I walked about 100 yards away into this thing to look up the sky. Same exact thing. Boom, gone.
I've seen that. I'm lucky where I stay. There's no light pollution. And I was watching the sky one night. All the stars were out. The Milky Way was out. And I went, oh, there's a satellite. And I watched it, and it just stopped. It just stopped in midair. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, they don't do that.
In the opposite direction. Yeah. Satellites keep going. They don't just stop and sit there for like 2 minutes, then pop off in a different direction.
Actually, I'm coming in June to Scotland, and on June 15th, I'm going to listen at this one Paracon they're having in Glasgow, and my friend Linda Whiteford from Cool Ross is going to be one of the speakers, and a lot of it is about UFOs, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get to it because I'll find that very interesting. I'm going to try and get to it.
Well,
get the Bald and Bonkers t-shirt and the Bald and Bonkers hat.
Well, look me up. I'm the tall guy with the funny hat.
I don't you worry. I'll just shout out. I say, I'm the guy that you can't understand.
Well, I can't understand anybody over there, so how's that going to work?
Right?
I'll be fine. The universal translator, you know, the universal. Would you like to ask questions?
Well, I got to tell you, I am really sincerely thinking about moving to Scotland.
Really?
Yeah, I just have such a connection there. Somebody once asked me, they said, well, do you have any ancestors? I said, yeah, a lot of them. And they said, what do they do? I said, they're dead. I said, that's what makes them ancestors, you dumb bonehead.
Otherwise, they're still living. We got some questions.
Yeah, if they were still living, they'd be called relatives. But yeah, it was funny. I told Gregor Stewart one day, he was asking, he says, you've got some lineage here, don't you? And I said, Well, I think if you figure out that King Malcolm II is I'm a direct descendant of him, I would say yes. So when you're actually a descendant of a king, that's not too bad.
I've actually, before I let Dakota say, do you want to ask the next question, Dakota? Come on. And before I ask this one, 'cause
No,
I've got
go
a good
ahead.
question.
Don't go ahead, man.
I was actually going to ask you, have you ever had anything creepy or supernatural happen when you've been working in the movies?
Yes, but it didn't happen because of the movie. It happened on the
Right.
location where I was at.
Yeah.
We were in a studio, which I'm not allowed to say what it is, but we were doing a movie called Hatchet 2. And I asked a couple of the actors, I don't know if you know, well, doesn't matter who they were. Anyway, and they said they didn't want to go up, because I was going to go up. And they said, no, and we don't ghost hunt. I said, okay. So the one makeup lady says, oh, can I go? And I said, sure, come on. So we went up there, and I had my K2 meter, and what else did I have? I think I had my night vision camera. And we get up there, and we start getting a lot of movement, a lot of answers on the K2 meter. And, we're getting a lot of activity.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so funny because this one couple came up, and they ghost hunted with us for 10 minutes, and then they left. And then two other guys came up. One was security guard. One was a guy from the movie. And the security guard was going all provoke, right? Which immediately turned me off. And he's going, I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I show your I ain't afraid of you. And I said, don't do that, right? And he goes, I'm not afraid of them. And then all of a sudden, the K2 meter goes all 5 lights. And he goes, what is that? I said, well, it's usually a pickup on, spirit energy. And he goes, well, what's all the lights? I said, that just shows you how strong the spirit energy is. It's got 5 lights. When it goes all 5, it's a very strong response. And the girl goes, yeah, you should have been here a little while earlier. We heard a voice right in front of us. The guy goes, what? And I said, yeah. And I said, and we saw a big black shadow walk right in front of the door. You could see the legs underneath, because the light was coming through.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, really? You saw that? We said, yeah. Right. I said, and if that lights go off again, it usually means there's some spirit energy around. And he goes, I don't believe in any of that. It goes all 5 lights. And you can go, oh, he goes, oh, bull BS, right? He yells, right? Just in case you can't say that on this show. But, and I actually have on video where you can hear it, him and the other guy running down the steps to get away. You hear, oh, damn. As they run down the stairs. So the guy that was up there being super macho got his hat handed to him. He didn't even get a chance to say, hold my beer. I mean, he's just off he went.
Are you good, okay?
So, aside from the loud dog growl that you were mentioned before, has there ever been an experience you have that honestly terrified you?
Yes. Oh, you want more?
Oh, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be a tease.
I actually got up from, this is my bedroom, and I was on, wasn't on the computer. I got up in the middle of the night to go get a drink of water, like 2 a.m. And I go out, and you see the blinds I have back there, the vinyl vertical blinds. It keeps pretty much all the light out. I mean, you can see there's light, but you don't see shapes or anything else. All you see is light. And I've got them in my dining room and my kitchen. And as I walked into the dining room was like pitch black, which meant no light at all was coming through the blinds, which the light comes through the blinds. And on the other side, in the kitchen, the light was, and it's the same light outside. And I just stopped there, and it's just like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And I look over, and something moves in front of me. So I naturally throw my fists up because I thought it was a burglar, right? I just instantly went to defend myself. And I look, and I can see through this cutout, that goes into the kitchen, so you can hand food through to the dining room. And I look over there, and I can see the microwave with the clock on it. And I see a head start to come up, right? And I can see the silhouette from behind. And I'm like, there's somebody there. So I'm ready, right? And I'm waiting, and it goes up, and it goes up, and it goes up, and it's like enormous. I mean, no human this size anywhere, right? And I can see the whole thing, the whole, the whole silhouette of him. And the thing that I know for sure there was somebody there, as he was going up, the light on the microwave went out. You couldn't see it anymore. That meant something was between me and it, right? So I just started saying, beat it, get out of here. You're not allowed here. And the light was, I had to go towards where it was and then to the right to hit the light. And I just kind of made a move towards it and hit the light, and there was nothing there. Well, he came back, and he was not nice. Let's just put it that way. He was not playing for the same team that I play for. And I'd have these black shadows showing up and just flying through the apartment. And it was so bad that there was a guy that was 2 apartments down that I knew. There was another stunt guy. And he asked me, he says, is your apartment haunted? Now, this is before I told anybody I did ghost hunting. I said, yeah, it is. And he goes, I keep getting all these black shapes come flying through there. And it would have been because it came through this way, right towards his place. Okay. So he eventually moved out. He said he had priests come bless the place. Excuse me, twice. And he finally moved out. He said he just couldn't take it. But I had these 2 twin girls come over. Not as exciting as you think. They were sitting in the living room, and they were using my SB7, spirit box, and trying to connect with their dad. And they're writing down. They each have a tablet of paper, and the spirit box. You guys know how they work. You get one word a night. This thing's they just like bam, 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 bam. So I went in and I came onto this computer, and I'm working on stuff while they're in there. And finally, after about half an hour, I got up and I walked in. And I said, girls, what are you trying to accomplish? Right. And they said, well, we're trying to talk to our dad. He died last year or 2 years ago or whatever it was. And I'm listening. And then it goes, I said, so what do you really want to do? They said, well, we really want to talk to our dad. And they're both sitting there, and it says father, and they write it down. Right. And their last name was a color. Right. I don't want to say what their name was. But they said that was the next word, father and then the color, right? And they write it down. And I just stopped the SB7. I said, girls, what are you waiting for? And they said, what do you mean? I said, what are the last 2 words you just wrote down? Oh, father and the color. Oh, my God, it's our dad, right? And they're freaking out. So I said, all right. I turned it back on. I said, seeing as I'm getting all this, activity through the box, I had been seeing white shadows coming through my apartment. Now, I've never even heard of white shadows, right? And do you remember on Star Trek when they would transport somebody and you'd see the flickering? I would see that every once in a while, the flickering out of the corner of my eye. And if I turned around, it was gone. So what I started doing when I'd see it, I would just sit there and look out of the corner of my eye and be able to see it. Well, anyway, I was thinking because the black shadows had made this big, nasty son of a gun show up, that maybe the white shadows were something else. So I just asked, I said, I've had these white shadows coming through here all the time. What is it? And it says to me, it goes, scent protection. And I was like, I'll take it. Right. All right. And the one girl goes, are you good or are you bad? And it goes, loving. And I was like, all right, bring it. I have backup. So that night when I was walking, this door right here next to me, I got up and it was nighttime. I got to the door. I started to open the door and I heard a voice inside my head saying, he's here. Now I know who the he's talking about. That big son of a bitch is back. Right. So I just walked out in the thing and I just thought, I said, all right, show yourself. You're always, sending stuff around. You're always, every once in a while, show yourself. You and I will take care of this right now. Right. I said, but you're not going to show up because you're a coward. I said, you can stand there and look all intimidating and everything else you want, but get the hell out of my apartment. Don't come back. I said, and you're not going to make yourself known because you know that I'm not alone. Now don't ever come back. Right. So I simmered down, I got my water and I came back in and I was thinking, wow, what did I just do? I came this close to getting my ass kicked. Right. But it's never come back. Been 5 or 6 years.
There you go. It's
Alright.
probably haunting someone else.
No, I'm
It's-
positive when it said it was scent protection and it was loving.
yeah.
That I had some spear carriers of my own there to hang on to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I ran him off. You know.
If you had to go to any location in the world, which would it be? The ghost hunt.
Yeah, there's several actually. I would like to go to the Tower of London.
Yeah, right. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That'd be one I'd want to go to. There's another place right out here. There was a movie called Wonderland that they wrote about this. And this place was where John Holmes, the porn star, had been staying with this motorcycle group, motorcycle gang, I guess would be the best way of saying it. And they convinced him to rip off this one big drug lord because he would always go down there and they'd give him stuff. But, you know, he's kind of like a pet, actually, for all the parties. And he left the back door open so these guys could go in and rob the guy. Now, this guy was not the guy to rob, right? And they said the only person that could have gone back there and opened that door, because it was always secured, was Holmes.
Yeah.
So they went out and they caught him at one of the parties and they grabbed him and they just told him, we're going to kill you. The only way you're going to survive is if you take us to who set it up. So they took him up to the house on Wonderland and they had an intercom. And he hit the intercom and the guy hears a voice, you know, sleeping. Who is it? And he goes, it's John. And they buzz him in. And these guys come in with iron pipes and beat everybody to death except for one guy. They got the one girl. Everybody's sleeping. And I mean, they just wailed on him. And if you ever see the pictures, I mean, they're horrifying. There's one of a guy laying flat on the bed. Obviously got him while he's sleeping. And the hole from the side of his head this way was indented like about that much, right across the eye. It's just boom. And there was another guy. He was against an office chair in the same room. And he's just like that. And there's blood everywhere. And what it sounds like, because there's a door that's open past that. And I think he heard the guy come in there and start getting him. And they made John Holmes hit him with the things too, right? Because he knew them, right? And that's how they got a bloody palm print of his up on the wall. That's how he ended up going to prison. But I think this other guy come running in to try to help his friend. And I mean, they just annihilated this guy. So if there's any residual energy anywhere, it's in that house.
It's going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you get worked over like that, there's anger, there's trauma, there's despair, there's every kind of emotion you can imagine in there. And, that would be one place I'd really like to get into. And it's maybe 5 miles from my apartment.
See, that's interesting. That is there any celebrity like mansions that are haunted in Los Angeles?
Dakota, will you translate that?
Are there any?
I got up to are there any celebrities in Los Angeles? That was what I got out of that.
There you go.
Is there any celebrity mansions that would be considered haunted in Los Angeles? Is what he's trying to ask, I think.
Well, he did ask it. I just, I'm a little hard of hearing, and but yeah, there's a bunch of celebrity mansions out here that are haunted. I mean, there was one where they had. I can't remember. It was one of the game shows where they put all these guys up, and a bunch of them just fled in the middle of the night because they saw spirits. Another one was Paul Byrne. You probably don't know who he is because most people don't. Paul Byrne was a director, and he was married to one of the most beautiful girls. I can't remember who it was, but evidently that they didn't hook up because there was something not clicking, right? Well, he killed himself in the house. Well, Sharon Tate lived in that house with Roman Polanski, okay, who were two of the people that got killed by the Manson family. And as she had walked down the hallway, she saw Paul Byrne standing on the stairs, right? And she freaked and she recognized him, but he'd killed himself years before, right?
Yes.
And he points over the railing to the staircase, and she looks down and she sees herself strapped to the thing with blood everywhere. So her and Polanski immediately move out the next morning. But that is actually what it ended up happening to her. They ended up strapping her over things and cutting, just horrible things. But there's a lot of places out here that are haunted like that. The Omen House has a lot of activity there. I've been there a bunch of times, and that's like right next door to where the Mansons killed everybody. So
I find that interesting. That house is meant to be very active where the Mansons were. I mean,
they actually destroyed that house years and years and years ago. And according to what I just heard, Taylor Swift just bought it. Now that's
lovely.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but I just heard that. So, there was actually a lawyer. I think he was. Although this guy had some clout, whoever he was, because he built himself a mega mansion, right? That looked more like a fort than a mansion. And one day I was standing out there with David. We were out in the street. And here the gates open up, and these three like Maybachs, real expensive cars, one right after the other, they all came out. So like I have a feeling two of them were bodyguards that followed or were leading him. Yeah. So whoever he was, they said he was a lawyer. But anyway, that place would probably be very haunted also.
Without a doubt.
Any questions for Rick?
How did you get so handsome?
How did you manage to get so handsome? Is you spent all your money in plastic surgery?
Oh God, plastic wouldn't even stick to my face.
I mean, obviously, Los Angeles.
I had a girl tell me one time.
Yeah.
I had a girl tell me one time. She goes, "Yeah, you do a lot of movie stuff." She goes, "You've got that good look. You're a handsome guy." And I went, "Oh, really? Why is it every time I go to a movie they cover my face in foam?" kind of think that's not the case. So I'm really looking forward to getting back to Scotland, though. I really am. I've got a bunch of ghost hunts set up. It should be fun.
You'll need to dress in the part. You'll need to dress with the kilt on.
No, my legs are
just
no. My legs are just too pretty. The girls will go wild.
That's very true.
That's the only way I get through the day, telling myself stuff like that.
So, Rick, I hope you can understand me here.
I got you.
Can you tell us, everybody in the chat, where they can buy your book from?
Yeah, well, I actually have two books out. The first one, Ghosts Believe in Me, was the Paranormal Book of the Year. The second one is called The Spirits Are Out There and They're Waiting for You. And they're both only $10, and they're on Amazon. And the nice thing is there's a hospital over here that helps kids with cancer called St. Jude's. And the profits, I send most of the profits to St. Jude. So
that's what I figured.
You can read a good book. You can read a good book, and you can do something nice at the same time.
That's really, really, really nice. Yeah. So, Rick, I would like to say thank you very much for coming on the show. We had a wee bit difficulties tonight with the cameras and God knows what last night. That the internet wouldn't work. So I'd like to say thank you to you, Rick, and hopefully you can get to Scotland soon. And I'll see you marching out of the hills with your
I'll be there June 6th. You're supposed to find a place for us to ghost hunt together. Dakota, I don't think you're coming because you live in Idaho.
I would want to, man. Trust me, but nah.
My brother lives in Idaho, by the way.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he lives in Boise or near Boise.
Oh, that's only about 2 hours from me on a good driving conditions.
Well, that's like when I grew up in Chicago. There'd be girls saying, "Oh, you're from the South Side of Chicago. Do you know so and so?" There's 4 million people that live there.
I know. It's the same when it comes to Scotland. And I'm no offense, but I've had Americans ask me, "Do you know my uncle? He stays in Glasgow." And you're like, "Oh, there's about 7 million people live in Scotland."
No, I don't even know my own relatives that much. So I mean,
I know.
Right, I don't know my neighbors in this apartment complex. How would I know people in Scotland? I know more people in Scotland than I know here in the United States, and that's absolutely true.
There you go.
Yeah.
You need to move here and get yourself a wee cottage up in the Highlands.
No, I would probably
You know?
stay down near Roslyn somewhere.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
probably
I'm
be.
not far from there.
Actually, you know what? In case anybody's listening, I saw a place that was about a mile from Roslyn, just before you make the left-hand turn to go into Roslyn, and it was a mobile home park.
Yeah.
You know, and it looked really nice. And I thought, now that'd be a good place to live. I mean, it's in a good spot. You don't have to worry about a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm gonna have to check that out when I get back there, because I've walked by it 100 times.
There you go. You'll need to see about it, you know. So, Dakota, do you have any announcements to make or anything like that before the end of the show? You there, Dakota? I think we've lost Dakota. I don't think you can hear us.
No, I can hear you. Just you were breaking out there for a sec.
Well, I was trying to think of an answer. Let's just put it this way. I will diddly. Yeah, I will have more answers the next time you have me on, because I'll have gone to a whole bunch of new places in June. You know, we're going to Torwood Castle. We're going to Bannockburn House. We're going to Castle Menzies. We're going all over the place. So should be fun.
There you go. That'll be excellent. Hopefully I can see you then too. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody for coming. We will see you all next weekend. Stay safe, stay spooky, and have fun. Catch you all later, dudes. Bye-bye.